For thus saith the Lord, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Jeremiah chapter 33 verse 17. His seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon, and as a faithful witness in heaven. Selah. Psalms chapter 89 verses 36 and 37. Jeremiah was a major prophet and is a key figure in the Old Testament. A priestly family raised him, and he began preaching around 627 before Christ. During the course of his ministry, he faced opposition, imprisonment, and personal struggles. Jeremiah wrote the book of the Bible bearing his name, as well as the books of Kings and Lamentations. He lived 80 years from 650 to 570 before Christ. About 20% of the text of the Hebrew Bible deals with the life and time of Jeremiah. His life only accounts for 2% of the timeline of the Old Testament. There were 5 kings of Judah during the time of Jeremiah's ministry. 1. Josiah, 2. Jehoahaz, 3. Jehoiakim, 4. Jehoiakim, and 5. Zedekiah. Jeremiah was known as a prophet from the 13th year of Josiah, king of Judah, 626 before Christ, until after the fall of Jerusalem and the burning of Solomon's temple in 587 before Christ. Jeremiah was the son of Hilkiah, a priest from the land of Benjamin in the village of Anatoth. The difficulties he encountered, as described in the books of Jeremiah and Lamentations, have prompted many believers to refer to him as the weeping prophet. He is an important figure in the Hebrew Bible because he was a prophet who delivered God's messages to Judah during a crucial time in the history of the ancient Near East. Anyone who knows anything about the Old Testament must have some knowledge of Jeremiah. He lived at the time of our 600 before Christ. Phoenicia ship replica. We must speak of Jeremiah as we work on the restoration of the ship. We want to look at Jeremiah and his role in preserving the royal line of King David. Jeremiah's father was Hilkiah, a member of the tribe of Levi. According to the Bible, Jeremiah of Libnah had a daughter named Hamutal. She was the queen mother of 2 Judean kings, Jehoahaz and Zedekiah. Jeremiah's daughter, Hamutal, was tightly connected to the royal court. The Jewish kings turned against Jeremiah after several years of preaching. They even plotted to kill him. We are particularly interested in the life of Jeremiah and to the heirs of the throne of David after the destruction of Jerusalem and the burning of the Temple of Solomon by the Babylonians on the 10th day of the Hebrew month of Av in 587 before Christ. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king. At the time of the destruction of Jerusalem, he was about 40 years old. Nebuchadnezzar marched against the city and captured Jerusalem after a siege of 30 months. Zedekiah and his followers tried to escape Jerusalem, but were captured by the Babylonians on the plains of Jericho. This group of captured Jews were taken to Riblah, to the headquarters of Nebuchadnezzar's army, just north of Damascus, where Zedekiah witnessed the killing of most of his teenage sons. In Riblah, the Babylonian king plucked out the eyes of Zedekiah, put him in bronze chains and took him captive to the rivers of Babylon. Zedekiah remained a prisoner there with other Jewish exiles until his death. This is the sad story from the Bible of the 20th and last king of the Jews until Christ came as King of Kings nearly 6 centuries later. Hamutal was the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah and she became the queen mother. According to the Bible, the remaining children of Zedekiah and Hamutal after the burning of the first temple came under the guardianship of Jeremiah. The Jewish king's royal line did end in Riblah. Jeremiah took the royal children from Judah to Egypt. The small group of Jewish exiles lived for a time in the eastern region of the Nile Delta at the city of Tapanis. Jeremiah continued to deliver God's messages. He specifically warned the exiles about the impending doom of Egypt. In Egypt, Jeremiah was about 60 years old. After Riblah, the remaining children of the royal house of David needed protection. At this time there was a royal heir, a young son who had the name of Mulek. This heir together with his sisters needed to be kept away from the Babylonians. These children represented the biblical covenant when God promised David that his royal line would last forever. The Bible and the Irish Chronicles specifically mention that 2 daughters of the Jewish king, Tephi and Tamaturphi, escaped with Jeremiah to Egypt. From there, according to the records of the ancients, the daughters sailed from Egypt to Spain, from Gibraltar to Cornwall, and eventually Ireland. Along with as many as would hearken unto the voice of the Lord, Mulek escaped into the wilderness, traveled across the great waters to the Americas, and founded a new nation. The people of Mulek established their capital at Zarahemla, north of where Lehi and his people landed. We believe that Mulek sailed seeking refuge for the same reasons as his sisters. He traveled from Judah to Egypt, from Egypt to Jerba, from Jerba to Carthage, and then from Carthage to America. This is the important link that connects the Phoenicia ship replica on the west bank of the Mississippi River in Montrose, Iowa, to the world of the Bible. This story is why what we are doing in America is so important. We need your help.